Guys, it's Miss Wilkerson. Miss Yarrow asked me to create a little video so I could go over a few things that are important for your research that's coming up. So I want to give you a couple tips to save you some time. I also want to do a little reminder as to where you can find the information that will be useful for this project. So just as a reminder, to get to the library from the school website, click on Academics, go to the drop down to Library. It's going to take you to the library homepage, and on your right hand side you're just going to click on Reference and Research. This takes you to the links for all of our school databases. For today, for this project, you're really only going to need to access one database. You should be able to find everything you need through Proquest eLibrary. So if you click on the logo there, Proquest, it's going to pop up and it'll probably ask you for a username and password. I access it so frequently that it has saved it to my computer. The username is SPUSD, the password is Tigers with an S, all lowercase. Once again, the username is SPUSD, the password is Tigers, all lowercase with an S. So most of you are familiar with Proquest. We use SIRS Issues Researcher quite extensively during freshman and sophomore year, but today we're going to use eLibrary. This is a database of periodicals, so we're going to be able to access all the newspapers that are on Miss Yarrow's list. So it's very convenient for this. You could right now just start and put in your writer's name and the newspaper. I always say link it with the newspaper because that's going to narrow down your search. So the writer's name or the columnist's name and New York Times and Miami Herald, whichever you are looking for. But what would be more helpful is if you go to advanced search. We can narrow down the search even more from here. So instead of searching all types of sources, we're just going to search newspapers. And under publication date, we're going to go last 30 days. All right, you all are not going back that far. You have to have more recent articles. Your research is time sensitive, so make sure that you narrow that down. This is really just going to help you so you don't have to filter through so much information. And try and make it easier on you. So then I'm going to put in a name, Brittany, and New York Times, because he primarily works for the New York Times. So this is one of the columnists that's on Miss Yarrow's list. Go ahead and click search, and it's going to come up with quite a few. Right now, I did narrow it down to the past 30 days. So there are 16 results. Does it mean that all these 16 results are relevant or are useful to you? No, not necessarily. They could be, but not necessarily. So a couple things we need to look at. The system defaults to relevance. And with any database, they look at different things. How many times those keywords show up in the article, how many times others have accessed it. And it really just depends on their internal system. But for right now, we're going to be concentrating on date because it is time sensitive. So instead of relevance, we're going to search by most recent. Now, with 16 results, that's not going to be that big of a deal, but you may come up with 150 results. You may come up with 500 results. It really depends on what you're looking for. So most recent, this is just going to help you narrow it down a little bit more. You can even narrow it down further since we did put in the last month. If you're only looking for articles from the past week, go ahead and switch the date settings on here. That is certainly something that you can do. Now, Proquest does update on a regular basis. So any of these articles should be within the last 2 days. As you can see, the most recent on this list is October 6th. So they really, they will pull them as soon as they can after the original publication. So usually within a day or two, they are updated and in Proquest or in eLibrary. So you will notice I had mentioned that will all of these articles or columns be useful to you? No, if you look at the first one, this isn't even written by Frank, okay? And it's from University Wire. They probably mentioned him in there, and that's why it popped up. So you do need to be aware of it. Obviously, you could click on it and access it and see there too. But we're going to take a look at some of the others here and just kind of skip over that one. So it says right here in the heading here that he is the writer of this column, and it originated from the New York Times on October 5th, 2020. If you look down a little further, you'll see that there is someone by the same name contributing to the Salt Lake Tribune on October 1st, 2020. That could be the same person, and if it is acceptable for this assignment. And we'll take a look at that in a minute, because some of these writers do contribute to multiple publications. So let's just take a look at the first one on the list for the New York Times. So click on it. All of these articles in Proquest are considered full text, meaning it's the entire article. They're not just a sample of the article, which for most of the time, that's what you'll find if you do a general Google search, is a partial article. All right, once again, we have all the pertinent information here. On your right-hand side, you can save the article to your Google Drive. You can cite the article. It defaults to the most current MLA format, which is MLA 8. But if you are using APA or Turabian, then you can access those there as well. You will notice, though, you are citing eLibrary. You're citing Proquest database, because that is where you access the information. So all you have to do is copy, and you can paste it into your Google Doc, into another document, however you wish. I do recommend, though, that you, at the very minimum, cite all of these in a document so that you can access these articles or columns again if you need to. So at least copy the citation. It's simple. You don't have to create it from scratch, whatever. But it is also helpful to save the article to your Google Drive, and at least until this project is over. You can print the article, email the article, however you choose to do that. If you go down to the bottom, as I said, these are full text documents, so it's the entire column, and you will see the copyright New York Times Company, October 5th, 2020, and it credits Frank as the writer. So if you go back up to the top, we can go back to the list. There's other tools on here if you need to translate or if you'd prefer to listen. I'll warn you, the listening isn't so great. It's very, it's a computer reading it to you. So, and these are short articles or short columns, so you shouldn't need a whole lot. But let's go back to our search results, and let's pull up one of these that Frank Bruni, or Bruni, I'm assuming is his pronunciation. I'm sorry if it's wrong. He does contribute to others, and he has a pretty unique name. So the chances that this is the same person is pretty accurate, but let's double check. So you see, once again, it's a full text article. If you go down to the bottom, or the full text column, if you go down to the bottom, you will see that it in fact is Frank Bruni from the New York Times. So this would be a suitable column for your project. So you can certainly use that. Now, many of you might say, okay, why don't I just go to the New York Times website or the Boston Globe, whichever website that you are, your columnist works for primarily, and you can do that. That's certainly fine, but keep in mind not all of them give you free access, and often when you do get free access, it's very limited. You will notice back on our list here of databases that we do have New York Times on here. Unfortunately, it is not accessible from home. We get free access only from the school site. So if that was one of your questions, that unfortunately we can't access. But you can go to their website, and New York Times does give you a limited number of articles each day. I believe it is 2 or 3 for New York Times. They also have a paid subscription, a student subscription. It's like $1 a week. So it is very reasonable. Most of them do have that. maybe not for students. I know Wall Street Journal also has a student subscription. I think it's yeah, it's $1 a week again. Some of the others have sales going on or specials going on right now because everybody's working from home. This is purely for web access, so that doesn't include print materials, but they are available. I just warn you that if you choose to sign up for a subscription, make sure you pay attention to the fine print in terms of, are you stuck in a contract? Most of them are month to month, so you don't have to, you can cancel at any time, but not all of them. So just be aware of that. You should not have to subscribe to any of these. You have enough access through Proquest, but if you feel it's more convenient for you, then you can certainly do that. If you have any questions throughout your research, let me know. You can access my email, swilkerson@spusd.net, or you can go through the teacher page on the website, the school website, and send me a message, whatever. But I try and get back to you rather quickly. So once again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me at swilkerson@spusd.net. And I really hope that we get to see each other in person soon. You guys have fun with your research, and I will see you soon.